They've flown in combat from the Falklands to Afghanistan, but today Britain's fleet of Harrier jets took their lost operational jump despite some rather inclement weather. The controversial decision to axe the jets was part of the government's defence spending cuts despite their iconic status. Designed and developed in Britain, the decommissioned Harriers could now be sold abroad. Dinnen has been watching them take their final furlong.
From the cockpit, a final OK signal to the ground crew. Then the roar of 16 Rolls-Royce engines. 16 Harriers flew together from RAF Cottesmore in Rutland. You won't see this happen again, for the Harriers are being retired early. This was their farewell flight. With its remarkable engineering,
the Harrier's different in that the thrust gets directed through these nozzles.
It inspired devotion amongst pilots.
The airplane is special. It does things very differently to a conventional airplane. It's a difficult airplane to fly. It's what we would call a real pilot's airplane.
The decision to retire this famous jet early in favour of the Tornado has been an incredibly controversial one, with critics pointing out that this is the more robust, reliable and cheaper aircraft to run. They blame what they call the Tornado Mafia of former Tornado pilots within the MOD. Serving Harrier pilots are reserved on that issue. Former pilots are appalled.
Based on financial reasons, but I still find it almost inconceivable that that decision was taken. It's incomprehensible.
The Harrier entered service during another round of defence cuts.
But one programme which most experts agree is really safe is the programme of 60 vertical takeoff Harriers for the RAF.
The product of British engineering, it flew with distinction in the Falklands War over the Balkans, Iraq and Afghanistan. This was the formation the teams had planned to fly over their base today. In the end, the weather meant they had to go past in fours. Then they made their famous landings. 50 years after its first hover, it still seems magical that a jet can do this. The final Harrier gracefully bowed in farewell. And extinguished its light. The pilot told me how that felt.
Today is full of emotion for sure, from a personal perspective, putting the aircraft to bed one last time. But actually, I've got a real sense of pride today, because aviation closes a chapter today with the demise of the Harrier Force, but very much so we're opening a new chapter, as already we're starting to look forward to the new Joint Strike Fighter.
They know how to mark the end of an era in the military, a walk of honour away from their famous jets into the arms of their families. The remaining 79 Harrier airframes will now go into storage. It's hoped another Air Force will buy the last of this remarkable piece of British military history. Dinnen, Channel 4 News, RAF Cottesmore.
Tonight's main news, the Labour leader Ed Miliband has accused David Cameron of breaking his promise to maintain real-term spending on the NHS, claiming the rise of inflation means funding will actually fall. The two leaders clashed in the House of Commons as the government revealed details of its massive overhaul of the NHS, handing control over much of the budget to GPs. Much more from Channel 4 News online at channel4.com/news. We're back tomorrow at 7. Until then, from Smyth and from me, that's Channel 4 News. Good evening.